All right, what's going on, ladies and gents? Well, welcome with another podcast episode. I'm here with Kurt, one of the best sales rep probably right now in the info space, and I'm blessed to be able to actually record a podcast with him. And today we're gonna mainly talk about and dissect this guy's thought process because this guy came into the space and one of the most probably building one of the fastest growing coaching program as well, which is setting the standard. I want to talk about that as well. So we're gonna break down if you're an average sales rep, how can you actually break it down and break through and be part of that 1% and really just dissect on your thought process and how you came to this business and just crush this entire space, man. Welcome. Excited to have you here. And how is Vegas? Before we get started, bro, how is Vegas?
There's a lot.
A
There's a
lot.
lot going on.
A
First
lot.
time in the States, but I actually love it. I've been meaning to come out to the States for a good period of time. Obviously,
Nice.
to meet you guys. I have a lot of friends in the States from the
Yeah, yeah.
space. I think all my friends are American at this point. First time in meeting Homero as well. I've worked with Homero quite a bit. But
Yeah.
honestly, I've heard not great things about Vegas, but I've loved it.
Love it so
Yeah,
far.
I've loved
That's
every minute
awesome.
of it.
Yeah, I've been here for the past 2 years, so it's been beautiful. Great connects. But I'm curious, bro. I mean, how did you even get where you're at now? And like, let's talk like, like how did you get into the high ticket sales? Let's start there. Like, I know people want that juice right in the get go. So
How did I get into it?
yeah,
Um, well, I'd been followed. Are you aware of Money Twitter? What Money Twitter is?
yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah, so there's a big space on
yeah.
there, and I was just working at like a regular 9 to 5 for like 3-4 years, right?
yeah,
I followed a few people on there, but I was just your average person that was just looking around, doing nothing, and then just kind of hoping, praying, wishing that something would work out,
yeah.
right? Maybe trying a couple of business models, half-assing it, and then eventually hoping that would work out. And then I found high ticket sales. I've never sold a thing in my life. I couldn't even sell water to a dehydrated person, right? And then I found sales. I did a little bit of digging into it. I was looking at it, and then I'd watched a couple of videos on it, and then eventually I found an online program for it.
Okay.
So the price was pretty open about it. I never jumped on a sales call for it. I knew what the price was, and
Yeah.
then I quite honestly didn't have the money.
Yeah.
Right? No, I think this is where a lot of people go wrong. They complain about the lack of resources opposed to actually getting resourceful to the situation to be able to make it work. So what I eventually did is because I didn't have the money to go for the program, I think it was $6,000.
Yeah.
So I think a couple of people have heard this before, but like I went out and got a loan, right? But with that,
Yep.
now this is the difference between the people that will succeed and won't. Now, when I went to go and get that loan, I got rejected 19 times to not get the loan.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 19 times. So it took me weeks to get the loan. Now, what do you think a lot of people would do in that situation?
They just give up. I mean, what was that thought? I guess like what was that motivation or your that keeps you going? Like I'm gonna make this work out. Like
Well,
why even try?
there's a couple of things. So there's my beliefs
Yeah.
that I know that I can accomplish what I set my mind to. And then there's another thing, which is my mum, right? So a lot of people like to use the idea of they're comfortable with where they're at. They make okay money and everything's fine,
Yeah.
right? But when you look at the situation, I always ask this people, what's the definition of comfortability? It's a peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
You're in a situation where everything's at peace and you feel good with where you're at. But when you look at what you want to accomplish and what you know you can have in your life, do you have that right now? For a lot of people, they don't, right?
They don't.
So
yeah.
what about that situation is comfortable? Is it comfort or is it settling? Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was looking at my situation and I was asking myself, because I'm allowing myself to settle, there's other people in my life that are suffering because of it, and that main person was my mum. So my beliefs that I could accomplish much more and that I had to give my mum a better life, that served me more than the fear of actually not going for it than going for it, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. And a lot of people are probably in that crossroad right now, and even if they're watching, right? There's maybe even people that got into sales or high ticket sales specifically because of that. But there are still people, even though like they've jumped that bridge, but they are still not getting the results. They're still not being able to provide for their family. Like, what was the difference that you felt like for you? Coming in here, crushing 10K, 15K months. I don't know exactly. What was your record month so far right now in
As a closer,
as a closer?
54K.
54K as a closer, right? Like,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of people in the space that doesn't get there. You know, like that. What was the separating factor that made you
Was
get there?
my journey in the industry easy in the beginning? Absolutely not. So again, it comes down to that belief of I know I'm going to make it. Like your beliefs are so powerful. People don't understand that there's so many limitations that we can set on ourselves. But my belief was so strong that I will accomplish eventually, and I know there's something better out there for me. So
Yeah.
even in the beginning, when it wasn't going as smooth as I thought it would,
Yeah.
as you expect it to, you expect, oh, once I invest, it's going to go smooth. I'm going to make my first 10K month in the first month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'll get hit with reality. That's not how it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's not going to go
Yeah.
that way. But that's what will separate you from the people that actually are successful and not. So even when times weren't easy, I still carried on time and time and time again. And I think another bottleneck that people experience as well is, let's say they make 5K a month, 10K a month, right?
Yeah.
They see that as a success, whereas I saw it as an opportunity for me to improve. So I hit 10K a month. So I invested 6K, I got to 5K. I got to 5K, invested another 4.8K. Then I got to 11K. I got to 11K, I invested 18K.
So you're constantly investing and reinventing yourself.
Then
Where's the
I got to 30K, I invested 5K a month. So I say this in one of my own videos, but like every level that you get to, there is
Yeah.
literally always a new devil to face.
And how do you constantly face it though? Because a lot of people might be facing it like, okay, I'm going through it again. Like, is this a prerequisite, right? Well, how do you keep being able to pick yourself back up, or not even pick yourself back up, but constantly reinvent yourself? Because that's, going through that cycle is always a constant change, right? And people around you, right? You're going to probably lose a lot of people as well.
100%.
So
What was the question again?
eventually you reinventing yourself constantly, right? Like, why go through that? And when people are watching, like, why do you feel like what's the most common pitfalls people face when
They're themselves. 100%. It's themselves. Every single time. Everybody is not. The only reason somebody is not where they want to be is because of themselves. It's exactly how I sell. I don't care how much money you make. I have objection handle people making 100 grand a month profit, and they're still in their own way. The ego is in their own way. Ego is a limitation that people set on themselves. So even for sales reps, they still set their own limitations on themselves. Fear of investing again, whatever it may be. Fear of being comfortable, procrastination, whatever it may be. The only reason somebody is not where they want to be is because their own internal selves. Even now, I still face my own internal limitations, but at least I'm self-aware enough of what I need to do to overcome them. And I think that's what a lot of people lack, especially the sales rep. They lack the self-awareness to be open and humble to say, I actually need more help to be able to get to the level that I want to.
Wow. And there's probably a lot of people, oh yeah, like, I mean, I don't need another coaching program. Like, why do I need that? I probably learn
Don't
the
do it
same
then.
thing.
Okay. If you feel like you don't do it, stay where you're at. I have guys that are making 20, 30 grand a month and they still come to me for help because they know there's something better out there for them. And there's a massive difference. So so there's a massive difference between a want and a desire, right? Now, when I say that, do you understand the difference? Because I use this on my calls all the time.
What's the difference?
So, for example, a want is so Lamborghini, for example.
Yeah.
I want a Lamborghini. Will I do everything that I need to do on a daily basis, overcome my fears, my limitations to get one? Not really, right? I'll probably do it when I've got money to throw at the wall. Now, a desire is my ability to help my mum and provide her a life where I can retire her and I have a complete life of freedom. Now, that's something that I will overcome my own fears, my limitations, and everything, the obstacles that are in my way. So when you truly understand the difference between what you want and what you desire, that's when you actually push for more. Because people that tell themselves that they're just okay and they're fine, that's because there's no desire there. They're just settling for okay. Like, that's fine. Stay that way. Like,
That's true. I mean, like, when you're closing, is there like a specific way that you frame it? Because there's a bunch of people, they're like, oh, this is the best way to close, this is the best way, this and that, right? For you, what do you end up formulating, or how do you advise people with that?
I advise people to take away a script, because if you're reading off a script, low key, you kind of, I'll leave that word out, but low key, it's just unnatural. And what I find is when people use a script, they end up just looking for the next question instead of listening to what the prospect's telling them. So the prospect will literally tell you what they want if you actually listen instead of looking for the next question.
Yeah.
What I usually do is it comes to a point in the call, so I'll go for a basic context, like I'll get context on the situation, see where they're at, see what's kind of going on, what the problem is and stuff like that. Then once it comes into like the solution awareness, where it's like what's kind of prevented, what have they tried, what's prevented them from actually having the success they want. One of my favorite questions that I always use in my sales call, the person you want to be and what you want to accomplish in your life, why hasn't this happened yet? Now, I ask it in that tone where it's yet. Why haven't we accomplished this yet? Let's look at it together, right? Because when you say let's look at it together, that's like collaborative. When I ask that question, what I'll usually get is a limitation. Because they'll give me an excuse or they'll give me some sort of internal limitation. And that's when I get people, once you have a limitation, cooked. I already know I've cooked you on this call. You're going nowhere.
And then you pin them down on that specific.
That's whole limitation.
The limitation.
The whole limitation is what I sell on at that point.
Wow. I got you. And a lot of people know that, but like they don't know how to execute it if they're going into a sales call, right? Like how do you, is there like a specific reason why do you feel like people, because they probably, I'm sure people have heard some tactics, but they don't use it, or you think it's comes to the belief, or what's the reasoning behind it?
One is they don't have the right training, which is why I'm here. But another thing is people are very selfish. What I say selfish is they become hesitant to ask the question that they know they should ask. Now, those are usually uncomfortable questions that they feel like the prospect is going to get upset around. Right? But then when you get hesitant on asking that question, who are you doing that because of? Why are you not asking the question, who are you doing that for? Are you doing it for you or the prospect? They're doing it for them. The closer's doing it for them because they're too scared that they'll lose the deal and they're focusing too much on the commission as opposed to what the person needs to hear to hold up the mirror so they can actually see the true realization of their situation.
Yeah, I heard there's this saying, I don't know who said it specifically, but the commission breath. You heard of
it? Like, it stinks. It's terrible.
It's terrible, right? How do you differentiate that? For example, for you, you're starting off, right? You took out a loan to specifically get into this online space to make money. And you got your first role and you're like, shit, like, I don't know how your expenses were like, but
oh, it was tight, terrible. Like it was real bad.
How do you separate still yourself when you know you're in a financial situation where like, shit, like I need to make something work out, but at the same time to still have the abundance mindset?
It's a tough situation to be in. Like I remember when I got the loan, I still had a job, but a week into the loan, I actually got fired from my job, so money was real tight. I think I had like £1,000 left to my name, and I had bills to pay, and I'd only just enrolled to a closing course. I had no sales experience whatsoever. I literally just packed a calendar and said, whatever I need to do to make money, somebody's got my money, I'm going to go and get it. So that was just my thought process. Yes, now you will be a little bit attached in the beginning. That's just something you have to break eventually by making money. But once you become detached from the sale, like, holy, is it so much easier?
I think that's when you can slap them around and really just like
not even slap, because I used to be that way. I used to be the slappy happy guy.
Fair.
But my main intention all the time is to help. Genuinely, that is always my main intention on a sales call.
I love that. And then how do you separate yourself? Because I feel like there's this differences I've been observing recently. It's like beginners, script, framework, and the next stage is like they have this ego, confidence because they hit the first 10K month, 15K months. Well, the people at 50K months or like 100K month commissions, right, just strictly closing, they have a different principles when it comes to closing, right? So for you, how did you ascend, I suppose, on that next stage where people get stuck at, because...
I suppose elaborate on the question just so I can actually make sure I answer it correctly.
Yeah, fair. So what's the difference between that 10K months to going from someone struggling, hitting the 10K months, them having a lot of ego, and then now you're generally caring about helping someone out, right? Like, how did you break that belief previously? For example, you were like, okay, well, I'm a bit more slap people around, but now you're like, okay, I generally want to help people out, right?
I invested, so that was down to that was a skill, not a skill issue, but it was down to a coaching issue.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, like, because it is about the skills, like getting to 10K. Sometimes it's the vehicle, but a lot of the time it comes down to the skills.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, you can complain about the vehicle. I see a lot of closers complain about the vehicle.
Yeah.
An offer that I was on with Homero at one point, when I first started out on the offer, they were doing 50 grand cash collected between two closers.
Yeah.
I jumped onto that offer and I collected 260K in my first month. So you can complain about the vehicle because it's only doing 50 grand a month.
Yeah.
But if you're also good enough, you make the offer,
Yeah.
right? But the transition that I made from slapping people to helping people was just a coaching difference.
I got you.
That's working with someone specific that was really good.
That's fair. And what were you doing when you came into that offer specifically, doing 50K a month and then collecting 250K?
What do you
month?
mean?
Your first one. What were you doing to actually? Were you just taking more calls, or were you doing? What was the groundwork?
I was on so I made a pretty rough decision at that point. So I was on an offer, a big account in the e-com space, like a really, really big account.
Yeah.
I was doing about 20K a month.
Yeah.
But because it was only a specific price point, I was pretty capped.
Yeah. That's fair.
So that was like, there's something more for me and I know I can do better. I have the skills. It's just I need something that's a higher price point. So I jumped onto it. Wasn't more calls. Like I was taking like I don't take more than 6 calls. Now I wouldn't never take more than 3 calls a day ever.
Really?
Yeah, I know I can close about 2 out of 3, probably 3 out of 3. But like I would never take more than that now. I can explain further why I do that as well. But it's like when I jumped on that off car, I was only taking 5-6 calls a day. But I was so much better than the other closers, and my confidence was absolutely through the roof. One thing that's really important as well is, I will say this, delusional confidence will serve you so well in this industry.
In what way? Like, what do you, what do you mean delusional confidence?
Like,
I've heard that, but like, you know, I didn't.
Delusional that I am actually going to be the best. Like delusional to the point where I believe right now you can put me on an account with a lot of top coaches and I will absolutely smoke them. Genuinely. That is my belief, and that's my delusional confidence that comes into play. And it will serve you so well.
Is it delusional, but if you have the track record though, or because it's like, is delusional confidence only if you don't have the track record or the internal work, right? Or
that is true. As a closer, but then also as a coach, I also had a delusional confidence that I was going to put out the best coaching program available, and then a lot of people that have invested have truly said that they've compared that with other products that they've been into compared to this is extraordinary. Because I've been in programs and I see the gaps and I'm like, this is what's missing, this is what I needed. So if I can give this to other people, this will serve them very, very well.
I gotcha. And I want to go back a little bit because I think we've been touching point a lot about belief, identity, and then just that confidence within yourself. How did you nurture that and build that within yourself? Because a lot of people knows it. They've probably seen some Instagram reels about, you know, write a list, write a goal, and have an identity vision board and all these things. But for you specifically, what did you do to actually have that belief within yourself to hop on those calls and be able to help those people out?
I'll say this time and time again. Like, it's such a little thing, but going to the gym, honestly, you build so many traits that transition into business just from going to the gym. Like the idea of delayed gratification, because you can't just walk into a gym and expect a 6-pack in the first month. Yeah. You can't expect biceps within the first 2 months. You just can't expect that. It's the same thing in business. The discipline that it took for me to just show up every day, even on the days that I didn't want to go. Yeah. The diet that I had to stick to, even though I was starving and I was hungry and I had to go do 45 minutes on the Stairmaster every day. That's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. So all those traits that I had from just going to the gym before I even stepped in sales, they are just transitioned straight into sales. So my identity, my actions of who I was and who I wanted to become, they were already in place. It was just a case of making it a reality.
Can you expand on that, like making it more of a reality? Because a lot of people might, okay, like what does that?
So it's like you have a vision of what you want to become, right? So look at it this way. For an overweight person, right, they have a broken decision-making process. Bad diet, bad workouts, bad day-to-day activities, right?
Yeah.
It's not until you have a vision of what you want to accomplish. So if they want to shred down and get into a six-pack,
Yeah.
it's not until they have that vision and then they take the actions of that person, of that mentality of an in-shape person, can they become that person. So for me, I had a vision of what I wanted to accomplish by being in sales. But it's not until I took the actions of investing and overcoming my fears and putting the work in for a year straight, 6 months to a year straight, could I actually become that person. So it's not until you embody the actions and the decisions and the behaviors of who you want to become, can you make that a reality.
And a lot of people undercuts that are like, oh, like, yeah, it's all right. It's not that, I'll just do more mock calls or all these things, right? But for you, it seems like you emphasize a lot about your identity, right? So what would you say to people who's more like technical, like, oh, I don't need to go to the gym or whatever it is, right? For the beliefs.
Who are they convincing? Like themselves, or are they trying to convince me that they don't need to do these things? Like, who are they trying to convince?
Ultimately themselves, right?
Well, that's like, it's fine. Like, if you look at Kobe Bryant, he wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
Do you think he concerned himself with people that just wanted to settle and be okay? Like, it's to me, when people tell me, oh, I just need to do more mock calls, but I never did a mock call. I never did a role play. I didn't do. It's a waste. It's not a waste of time. They are useful, but it's also like, why would I waste my energy on fake role play when my main focus is to be able to make a lot of money? I'm focusing on the wrong things. It's like mental masturbation, right? That's exactly what it is. A lot of people will, like, when people look around on YouTube, like, what business model should I do? Should I do this?
Income.
It's just that. It's literally just that. And they don't do themselves any justice, because the longer they delay a situation like that, the longer they delay a decision like that, all that happens is they lower the trust and the confidence in themselves to actually take the decision.
And a lot of people are stuck there, and
Dangerous.
how did you get out of it though? I'm sure was there a point you were in that route of like, as I could confess too, like I was in like
100%.
a point of mental masturbation. I remember when trying to get into the business realm, like a bunch of YouTube videos watching, right? So when did you make that pivot? And a lot of people maybe are watching this right now where they're trying to pick, a business model, or maybe they're heavily in sales already, but having that, maybe I should go to this because it's more lucrative, or they're just not getting the results, or maybe it's the vehicle, right? Just getting all of these.
Instead of saying it's not lucrative, how about saying, how can I make this work? How can I take responsibility for my actions and my own decisions and actually make it work? Like, I could have sat back and said, oh, maybe high ticket sales won't last that long. Instead, I took responsibility for my position and said, it's on me to make it work. It's nobody else. And I think that's what they end up doing. They end up looking around for so long, 'cause it's like, this is somebody else's responsibility to get me to where I want to go.
Yeah.
People jump on multiple sales calls because I want to make sure it's the right fit for me. Make it the right fit. What's wrong with you? Like, you're just wasting your own time, your own energy. Like, I don't know how much longer you think you've got left on this earth, but I know I don't have enough time to be messing around.
That is true. I feel like the urgency is so important, right? And that, I've never get that. Like, for me, like, I went from trying everything myself, and I'm like, okay, well, like, there's got to be more efficient way to do this, right? Like, and then that's when I started hiring coaches and spending money. I thought it was logical at first to do that.
Yep.
I thought it was the most rational way to do is like, okay, spend money to acquire the knowledge and speed up the time. But I'm sure you probably noticed now 90% of people, that's not the average thought process.
No, but at least in your situation, you actually tried something, you actually give it a shot, and you come to the point where you realize like coaching's probably the next point. Most people don't even try.
Yeah.
So that's important
true.
enough that you actually went out your own way to give it a shot, and then kind of come to the realization, okay, I probably need a coach to take it to the next level. Like, most people don't even do that. Such a shame.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things. Do you feel like it has to do with their environment,
Environment's
or
a big one. Environment is a big one. The reason I say that is because I'm from the UK, and I don't know if you've ever been to the UK.
I just heard people get stabbed there once or twice a day, From if you wear a nice watch, that's the only thing I hear about UK.
Don't ever go to the UK. But anyway, problem is with the UK, everyone's very limited, and they try to pass on their limitations onto you. Right? They don't like the idea of somebody accomplishing much more. They'll tell you reasons why it won't work, why you shouldn't do it, why it's a scam, all these kind of beliefs, and the UK is a very broken environment, and it's why I never ever spend time there at all. Your environment is massive, because the reason I travel a lot as well is because it expands my mind to new opportunities and what other things I can accomplish in my life. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I like the idea of coming to America because there's so much opportunity out here. You guys just love spending money. It's so fucking cool.
Credit card this, credit card that. Yep.
The problem is with the UK. You go to the UK, you speak to somebody on the UK on a sales call, like, oh, Jesus Christ, you're a nightmare. But it's just because they're so broken mentally. It's half the time it's not their fault. It's just the environment they're surrounded by, right? Because the longer you spend in a bad environment, the more you become molded by it.
How did he get out of that? I mean, like, it sounds like I know, like, it seems like it's very corporated too, you know, like climb the ladder and that crab mentality, right? So how did you get out of that environment even, or was there like a pattern interrupt that you experienced in your life that I was like, okay, was there like a role model, you know, that got you out of there, or?
Nobody. I had no one. It was a very lonely journey because I knew nobody. It was only me doing it. I think the biggest thing that allowed me to understand without having the money of what you can accomplish is the fact that I had access to money Twitter. So money Twitter did actually do me a lot of justice. Yeah, because you just see so many people making money online. Yeah. I never believed it was a scam. It was like, how do I do it? Like, how are they doing it? Yeah. I know that I can do that, but how do I do it? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I was exposed to that pretty early on. It took me far too long. One thing now, which is why I slam people down so much on like, just do the thing. Yeah. Because it's one regret that I had. I wish I would have just started soon instead of just delaying. I call it a disease of delay. Because it's a disease that will last you your whole life. This idea of just delaying and delaying. Because it's easier in the moment to just delay it than it is to actually do the thing that you're supposed to do. Because the best decisions are the best decisions that you need to take are the hardest ones to fucking take.
That is true. Man, like me coming from my culture is I'm from Philippines, and they have this thing called manana mindset, where mamayana means like later, right? There's always like, oh, we'll do it later, we'll do it tomorrow, right?
Later the coffee gets cold.
Yeah, that's the mindset I grew up in, and I just got so pissed. And I'm like, why? And then I went here in America, and I think that's so true. When you travel, it just opens your mind. You know, like I think I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I didn't go to America, you know, or didn't see the opportunity, because I probably would be a VA. You know.
What did it take for you to make that switch, though? For you to realize like it was enough? And
I think it comes with, I think for you, right, it was your parent or your mom. Yeah. For me, it was my family too, and seeing them. I didn't come from a very well background. I think that's one of my biggest edge why I think it was fairly easy for me as well, and I always see it as an advantage. Is if you have, I see this advantage as an advantage, and I feel sad for people who doesn't have a disadvantage, in a way, because okay, cool, like yeah, I grew up at one point I live in, literally my backyard was a rice field, bro. Yeah, like my roof was a fucking it was made out of these dried rice leaves. Yeah, that's kind of like where there was the environment, and then the flooring was just like straight in like soil. So like that was the lifestyle I was living, and seeing these guys making money at my age, I'm like, okay, like there is no they don't know what hard is. That's why I'm like, that's the environment that I came from. And obviously, you know, like growing up, moving to 17 different places, I moved a lot from my family, and I felt like that gave me like a confidence and just the identity of like, okay, like there needs to be something where I can support my family, because my dad was a minister of the faith, you know, and Christian, and I'm like, that's not gonna get you wealthy, you know. I want to help them out, but I think that's how there was just a shift that happened for me. It was like, okay, I wanted to become a basketball player. Yeah. I wanted to become a professional player, and then I realized, okay, my height and all these things. Okay, what can I do that doesn't? Sure, like I probably could have tried go to Philippines, all these things. Like, there's always a way to make it happen.
Always.
Yeah, always a way. And I think Kobe, you mentioned Kobe earlier, one of the biggest, people that I've studied a lot. So I think that's how I fell in love with entrepreneurship. Is like, it's you don't have any limits. Your disadvantage becomes your advantage. I think that was the shift that happened for me. Was like, okay, family doesn't have the opportunity I do, and I think you're blessed with the mindset that you have too,
Yeah,
right?
100%. See, that's even that alone is like a really powerful state to be in because it's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders to actually do the things that you need to do. And I think a lot of the time when you burden or you have that responsibility, like you can't slack off and tell yourself everything's fine.
Yeah,
You just can't, like, because it's being selfish again. It's
yeah,
like
extremely selfish, man. Yeah, that is true.
it's like who suffers because I allow myself to stay comfortable.
Yeah.
And in my situation, it's my mum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your situation, it's the people most important to you.
Yeah.
So when things are hard and you're faced with a difficult decision, it's easier to take because you know you have all that responsibility in the back of you that you need to take, right?
Yeah, no, no, 1,000,000%, right? And that's why it resonated so much. I felt like earlier was when you mentioned you're asking these questions with the prospect when you ask them, right? Like, okay, who's gonna be responsible, or like that crutch that they have, and then I felt like that's true though. Like, I didn't really read that much books, or like, I the main thing really is just like, what would I ask myself in this situation in sales calls, right? And I felt like that translated somewhat decent, not too bad. But I I want to go back a little bit and ask you, because you mentioned something earlier that caught my attention, which is you only take 6 calls per day, or like
Free
maximum, right?
for a day.
3 to 4 a day. Why? And a lot of there's this mindset in sales where take 10 calls a day and grind and 12 calls a day, right? Well, for you, why 3 to 4 calls a day?
I think it's important in the first 6 months to take 10 to 12. I think
Fair.
it's extremely important because for the first 6 months, like Camaro would probably know this,
Yeah.
because I was working in the UK. I used to work from like 4 p.m. UK time because that was typically, I think it was 3 p.m. UK time because that was like 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And I used to work up until 4 a.m. in the morning,
Okay.
like just savage. Because it was just like the more calls I can take, instead of wasting time doing stupid stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the more calls I can take, the more experience and the faster I can learn of what needs to be said and what doesn't need to be said on a sales call.
Yeah.
Right now, the way I sell now, just getting back to that a moment, it is so important to take your first 10 to 12 calls a day when you're starting out, because I promise you now that will ramp up your process. It will ramp up your success so much quicker,
100%.
so much quicker, and you'll cut so many curves and you'll make a ton of money. Like you'll make a ton of 10, 12 calls a day if you're getting free $500-$600 commission. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But now I only take 3 to 4 calls a day because the amount of energy and time that I would put into a prospect on one call is absolutely ridiculous, to the point where I just won't get objections.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my calls are so good. Like, I don't mean that in a way like they're so good for the prospect. Like, they're so empowering and they're so
Mm-hmm.
life-changing for the prospect, because my whole idea on a sales call now is whether you buy today or not, you are leaving with some type of value in this
Yeah.
conversation. And a lot of the time, what salespeople miss is people are buying you, your ability to push through fear, your actions, and all these beliefs that you have. So you have to question yourself: am I a person that's worth buying into?
Mm.
Do I make difficult decisions? Do I overcome my own fears? Do I keep promises to myself that I'm going to keep? Do I constantly push myself to be better every day? To the point where if somebody gives you an objection of, oh, I'm doing okay, I'm fine, you can't overcome that objection because you're just settling for okay.
Yeah.
I'm not settling for okay at any given point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
This month I had a really good fucking month, and it still gets me down. It's like there's so much more out there. I'm just like, it's not good. People keep telling me you should be grateful. I'm just like, it just plays in my mind every day. Like, it genuinely destroys me inside. Yeah. But it's like when people give me that objection, I'm making okay, I'm good. Well, compared to what though? Like,
exactly. There's venture capitalists that are making billions of dollars,
yeah,
transactions. So it's like, in what comparison, right?
it's like how long have you been trying to defend yourself, convince yourself with that situation, so that you don't have to make a decision that you know you should have made a year ago?
Wow. I guess for you though, like what is there an end, or what's the main uh race that you're racing right now? Like what's the goal, or like what's the main anchor that you're trying to accomplish? I'm sure it's probably not money, but like what's
The coaching side of things, I really want to set that to a really high level, and provide some of the best reps available. That would film that. I stand really proud on some of my reps that are in my program right now, like really proud,
Mhm.
because the people that have invested before and they're making good money, they could have just said to themselves, you know, I'm okay and I'll just carry on. But they don't. They invest in me because they know they can still get better and they can still learn more. So I stand proud on all of the reps that are in my program. They're such killers. I love every single one of them. But I just want to keep that level of standard. I want people to look at me and be like, this guy has a really solid program and, you know, high referrals.
Yeah.
The end goal is just put it bluntly, like, fuck you money. Like,
What's fuck your money for you though?
to the point. So people say there's a number on it. There isn't a number on it. There's a moment where I know that I don't have to wake up and worry about another dollar.
Yeah.
There's a moment where I know that my mum never has to worry about a single thing. If she needs it, I've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? To that point where I know that everybody in my life is fulfilled, and
Yeah.
I can feel like a level of peace. Now that may never come, but I promise you now I'll keep chasing it.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can put this on camera, but I know back of the camera, like we were talking a little bit, that you're coaching right now a company, right? And how did you get into that? And then like, are you planning to expand that coaching for these big companies, or what's the idea with this now?
So why did I do it? Because a lot of people were asking me for coaching, but I also knew there was a lack of, what's the best word? Fulfillment, care, maybe care, like genuine care to be able to help these people.
Yeah.
I was looking at other people in the space and then how they were coaching people, and I was like, there's a lack of like there's a lack of genuine care to
Yeah.
the person. Do you know what I mean? When people come to me, I literally text them all the time and making sure, hey, you okay? Everything good? You need help with this? When you need help with that, I always make sure my guys are on offers.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely make sure that I know what it's like to be as a rep and when it's tough, right? And
Yeah.
I've been through that, so they don't have to. So
Yeah.
that's what I want, and I think I'm going to grow it to the point where I'll be able to separate to advanced to like beginners to advanced. But that the main purpose is just to provide good quality reps and just make sure everyone makes the most of the money and makes the money they want to.
And a lot of people might be wondering, right? Because numbers wise, and just kind of like where you're at right now, right? Like, what is the effort that you needed to get where you're at? And let's talk about a little bit about like your milestones right now. And you mentioned earlier, not you guys just hit a record month, right? I don't know if you want to disclose the numbers on that, but like, what's the I guess like I lost my train of thought, but like
Okay.
the main anchor that you have of like, okay, cool, like we got a record month, but that's still the main anchor is the fuck you money, right? Like, I guess like was it allocate the accolades right now that you have, and looking back at where you came from, on like someone that's, oh, I'm taking a loan and I got denied for it 19 times, right? Like that identity shift, right? Like, you ever thought about that? Like in terms of like your identity shift from where you're at now to,
Yeah, 100%. The
yeah,
person that I was 2 years ago, in no universe can it be the person I am today.
yeah,
The actions, the beliefs, the decisions that I take, they just wouldn't align with who I am today. In no reality could I be the person I am right now compared to who I was 2 years ago. It just wouldn't be possible. And I think that's what a lot of people miss. You have to internally and externally improve on a day-to-day basis, whether that's 1%, 0.5%, at least do something to get better on a day-to-day basis.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis to get better?
Work every single day. Every single day. You'll never catch me not working, apart from yesterday because I was at a wedding. But no,
gotcha.
every even now, like I was supposed to come on a vacation because I've not seen my girlfriend in like 4 months.
Yeah.
I still brought my laptop, and today I did a coaching session with the guys.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just like continuously improving, and I'm always investing in other things, always investing in next level stuff.
Yeah.
So I can get better in that aspect. I'll always train. I train every day. I go on the Stairmaster every day. I do difficult things every day.
Let's talk about like the fitness part of things, right? Because yeah, like let's talk about that. Like how did you, bro? Yeah, probably have one of the best physique in the online sales
Ooh.
space, bro. Okay,
That
like
could be a good shout. That's why I'm saying that.
bro, you could leverage that. But like, okay, who is a sales coach that has like, have you ever thought about competing or anything?
I have competed.
Oh,
Yeah, I've
there you
competed.
go. So like,
Part of the program that I offer is about health and fitness as well, though, because it's called Set the Standards, right?
Set
So
the
it's like
standards.
setting a standard of the person you want to be.
mm-hmm.
So the purpose of it is you have a vision of who you want to become.
Yeah,
Now you make an enrollment to my program.
yeah,
The whole purpose is you action that person, you execute that person, you execute stepping into that version of you. That's the whole purpose of it. So it comes down to external, internal, physically, mentally, financially. Those are all things that we work on when you come into my program. So I'm big on health and fitness as well, because I think it's a fundamental part of making a good amount of money. You'll notice a lot of rich guys are always end up in shit. Like Dana White, look at Dana White. Dana White's an absolute savage.
yeah. Did the water fasting? It was
Yeah,
nuts,
that's what I
yeah.
mean, bro. And they call it Andrew Tate. Like Andrew Tate is big on fitness as well.
Yeah,
Because it's so important.
no, 100%. I mean, for you, what are you currently working on right now? And because you technically transitioned from closing to now coaching, managing some teams, right? So what's the what are you working on right now? Let's start there.
I work with an offer right now where I coach their sales team. They have a really, really good account. There's just a bottleneck with the closers right now, but we've improved that a lot. I'll still take the sales calls here and there for them, but then I also do the coaching on the side as well.
How do you keep your skill set? Like, for example, I'm sure there's probably a lot of maybe top performers out there that's like, okay, I'm getting some offers to like coach people, or like some people hitting me up to sharpen that skill set still and keep that same edge that you have when you were a top performer, right? And then slowly transition to coaching. I don't know if you've experienced this as well.
I watch sales calls every single day. That was the best way that I learned. I do role plays with all the guys. To be honest with you, do you know, I was honestly thinking about jumping on a fitness offer the other day, because I was just like, yeah, you know what, I could just go and rip a ton of sales calls for fitness. I've never sold fitness, and I think I'd be really good at it. I know I'd absolutely crush it.
Yeah.
But I was genuinely thinking about that the other day, just to stay in the game and get some content.
Yeah.
Because at this point, taking sales calls is just for content for me now, just
Yeah.
to prove that my shit
That
shit
it works.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's why I'm curious in that, because I'm sure I think you're one of the guys that I know in this space that you practice what you preach. You don't just preach to preach. And there's a lot of people there that just preaches, but then they never do the thing. So for you, right? Like, do you feel like you're gonna keep closing still, and or especially because you're gonna scale and
Yeah,
to get that fuck you money, right? Like,
It's a fair question, because it's going to come to a point where my time has to be allocated very carefully, and sales calls is not going to be the best move at that point. Because if I'm enrolling more people and I'm helping more people and having that time allocated towards them, me separating that towards sales calls, it won't be worth the money, and it just won't be worth the time to be able to help people. So it's a fair question. I'll always do my best to make sure I'm still top performing and always improving, so I can actually give the guys what they need to improve. But I think my detachment, because to be honest, do you know what it is, right? People think you lose a skill set.
yeah.
Do you know what sales really is? It's your beliefs.
I'm $1,000,000,000, man. Yeah.
Like, there's
true.
no way for me to sharpen my axe, because my beliefs are so powerful now. It doesn't matter what you tell me, I'll just overcome it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I understand the purpose of why we ask specific things at this point. So now it all comes down to my beliefs. So I don't think I'll ever lose that edge.
That's a fair point. I got you. And right now, right, like, you're building this up, right? And for the people out there that's maybe like, okay, what they're still a bit lost, or maybe they're struggling, right? Like, what would you tell them? Or like, if you were in that situation, right? Like, how would you advise them? Like, if someone hops on a sales call with you, right? Because
That'd be a bad idea.
it would be. I think it's a good idea, so they can actually change their life.
That's true. If you're scared, it's a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
fair. What are the common limiting beliefs that people have? Let's just talk about that. Like common limiting beliefs that people have that constantly face.
it's all just fear.
Fear.
Yeah. The so you have like laziness, you have ego, you have procrastination, you
Mm.
have time, you have money. Um, I suppose money's not really fair. So let's just look at procrastination, laziness, and
Uh-huh.
doubt, self doubt. Let's look at ego. Let's look at time, stuff like that,
Yeah.
or delaying. These are all fair limitations because it's like they know they need to do something, but they're pushing it off out of fear of something.
Yeah.
Right? There's a couple of ways it can go, but there is always a fear of something, which is why they delay it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I suppose money can tie into it, but money, the limitation of where they set money is a limitation on themselves. It's always like, is it a lack of resources? Is it a lack of, or is it a lack of willingness to be resourceful?
That's true. I mean, if you're in a first world country, it's all resources is there. It's abundant.
You can do a lot of things and just make money off the rip, and that's one thing that I've noticed pretty quickly. Like money's printed out of thin air. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say that on my sales calls all the time. When it comes down to objections, right?
Yeah.
Half the time I don't even listen to the objection because it's just nonsense anyway. I just skim past it. But if
Yeah.
people mention like a money objection, I just get them back into the emotional state of like why they're actually here. I don't even mention the money because what will
Mm.
happen is they'll come to their own conclusion of they're just going to figure it out. So it's like money is an infinite resource you can acquire anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. If you really wanted it that bad, you can go and acquire it anywhere. So instead of focusing, so it's like which version of you is in a better position? The version of you that focuses on the lack of what you can't do, or sells yourself on the things you can't do, or the version of you that has the willingness to be resourceful and start telling yourself what you can do. Which version of you is in a better position? So it's obviously the one that's willingness to be resourceful.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to money objections and stuff like that, I just get them bought into that idea. I get them back into the emotion, and they just come to their own conclusion. People focus on word tracks. How about just fucking speak to the fucking person? Jesus Christ! Stop
Yeah,
being-
it's interesting. Like the common practices that's accepted in the space is like, oh, use this best framework to close the deal or handle the objection, right? But you mentioned a couple times now about listening, right? And I think after for personally like training up a bunch of sales reps too, it's like no one listens. So how, do you train that or like? For me it was common sense. Okay, just listen to the prospect. It's a conversation. But to be fair too, when I was starting off, it's like I wasn't listening too. And I'm sure I'm probably still like
So
for you. Like, how did you train that? Did you train it actively, or was it just like an inept skills that you ended up starting off
so
with? Or
one thing that Kyle Sode said to me was listen to the words that they choose to use.
mm,
So what he means by that is when they use the words, does the words that they choose to use, did they support who they want to become, or do they put roadblocks in the way? Right?
mm,
And then that's really powerful because I always think back to a sales call that I had with a guy. He was really positive. He was really negative throughout the full call, right? A lot of internal blockages. And then we kind of went through it until I pitched him, and then we broke this, and he just come to his own conclusion of like reframing his own language towards the pitch.
yeah,
Then as soon as I wrapped up the pitch and I went for the close and we'd done the price, the best investment, stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
he gave me some really bad language, and I was like, whoa, hang on. That's not the person that I've just been speaking to for the past 30 minutes. If I wouldn't have listened to that negative language that he just chose to use,
Yeah,
that would have led to me having to objection handle him for like nearly an hour just to get out of his own way. Because he's been in his own way for like a good amount of years.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Because I was able to listen out to that specific word, we went straight into it, and I just completely tried to understand where that even came from. And it just came from a whole backstory of his dad telling him what he couldn't do his whole life. And it was his dad creeping back in. And I literally just sold him on being proud for his dad, setting a better example for his dad, like showing his dad there was a better way, proving his dad wrong. I literally just sold him on that because of one word that he mentioned.
Wow. It's not even about, like money. It was just like this straight up, just like the person itself, right?
he was about to get in his own way again.
Yeah.
It's so much easier
Even
when
though
you're
like after that entire full
yeah.
conversation at the end.
I don't even half the time I don't call it objection handling.
Yeah.
I just do a second discovery.
Yeah. That's fair.
I just do a
Yeah,
second discovery.
I watched this I don't know if you've heard about WeWork or Adam Newman. So I've been looking a lot into like how founders or all of these big billion-dollar companies get started, right? And this guy straight up flew to a uh a investors conference in India because he knew someone's gonna be there, and pretty much is the founder of SoftBank, Masayoshi Son, billion-dollar investor, and then because they're losing money. And I'm gonna connect this a little bit on what you just mentioned, right? And even because there's B2C, B2B, a lot of people like, is it different, right? And then this guy looked at all of his, okay, what's the story of Masayoshi, this billion-dollar individual that invests into a bunch of tech startups, right? And then he flew there same night. He found out, and then he practically went up the stage and then positioned his speech. Doesn't care who was speaking, but directly to that individual, and he was able to secure the funding for I believe it was a 4.4 billion funding for from that thing. And I'm like connecting to that, right? It's like it's no different, it's kind of crazy that you can just overcome the person, wanting to understand them, right? Pin that to them, and then you get win-win for both party.
People aren't on your call for a program. Well, they are clearly, but they're here because there's
Yeah.
something more for them.
Uh,
They're here for themselves.
yeah.
I always hear sales reps talking about themselves and this and that. I think, to be fair though, saying that, I think it's personal stories are really powerful,
Mhm.
but I think a lot of sales reps talk about the wrong things. So when they do like half-assed
Yeah.
bullshit report about,
Yeah.
hey, I'm from here, like he doesn't care. He isn't here because he wants to know where you're from.
Yeah.
But I think personal stories are really powerful because people are buying into you, right?
Mhm.
All your abilities towards
Yeah.
everything, and they want to know are you a person worth buying into.
Right.
So if you've got like your personal story, for example,
Yeah.
if you tell people that, they'll buy into that. So because it's such a powerful story,
Uh.
they will buy into that. People buy into my story all the time because it's
Mhm.
like they know that you've gone through it, and a lot of the time when it's fear just it creates hypothetical situations that never even come. That never
Yeah,
even
it's not
exist.
even real. It's
Yeah,
just
it's crazy.
yeah.
It's like I use this analogy all the time. But if you before you started driving,
Mhm.
if you create all these hypotheticals of what's going to happen on the freeway, so you never step in the car, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
But fear's a funny one, and I think it gets the better of all of us.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. And again, I know we're probably running in time a little bit here, but I guess like for a couple more questions is for you right now, right? Like you're coaching and you're
Yep.
transitioning into this space and industry, right? Like what's the next step for you to reinvent yourself? Like have you thought about that, or what do you feel like is the next step for you?
I have to dig deep for that one. I think I'm the best I can be as it stands right now. Well, not yet, actually. Give it 3 months and I'll be back in shape, like to extreme shape. I had to bulk
Fair.
a little bit, but like in 3 months' time, I think I am possibly the best version of me I can be right now. Maybe not, I'm not at the fuck you money level,
Yeah.
but the person that I stand on and the values that I stand on and the way I treat people and the way I am with people, I think this is the best possible version of me I could be. I think maybe the only next possible solution is creating a mini-me.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's the confidence speaking right there, right? And man, it's interesting because like a lot of people, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's this pitfall too when you make a lot of money where a lot of people starts kind of like just fucking around. I ended up closing for and managing some sales reps for this specific individual. I can't drop any names, but making shit ton of money, like 300, 400K a month, very young, and then eventually just kind of like nowhere to be seen, right? And I'm like, it's insane. Like, how do you keep yourself still grounded where, okay, I'm still the best version of myself. money's coming in the bank, where like um your past self can't even fathom that money that's coming in the bank,
Yeah.
right?
I still have my not really. I still have my moments where obviously I like to enjoy what I've built, but nothing fulfills me more than just grinding away at my laptop. Like it's just an obsession.
Yeah.
That's another thing that will separate you from being average and being great. Like it's
Mm.
your obsession. Obsession will take you way further than discipline. Like my obsession to be better every single day is just going to take me so fucking far.
Mm.
But I get it when you make that kind of money fast. It's easy to say, "Oh, I can buy this kind of thing. I can do this kind of
Yeah,
thing."
you just
Right?
fuck around,
Yeah,
right?
it's easy to do those things. And I think in the beginning of my career, I got it out the way pretty quickly.
Fair.
I got it out the way pretty quickly because even at making 20 grand a month, that was life changing money for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got that out the way pretty quickly to the point where now, like what we've made this, it's just like it's not. What do I spend it on now? Like, what do I do? I don't want a car because it's a tie down. I like being able to travel. Traveling doesn't cost me that much, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Other than treating my girlfriend, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And spending, like, making much my
Yeah.
mum's looks after.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, like I definitely agree. It's interesting that you mentioned car. Ended up getting a car myself,
The
and
Audi.
I could 100% agree to that. Like, it does tie you down because it's like, okay, cool. Like, oh yeah, like, but the thing though is like you have this mental things, and I'm like, shit. Like, traveling is. I think that gives you more, especially like leverage too, because of the environment,
100%.
especially the online space. So that is so true, man. Like,
How
you just-
quickly did that fade when you got the car?
you start reasoning it first
Oh,
for a few months,
yeah.
and then next thing you know, you're like, it's just it gets you to point A to point B. It's nothing different. I think I tried my best to reason it out for 6 months straight, and then I'm like, fuck, man, and I'm like, I wish I would have just traveled a little bit more, because that's what made me who I am, and that's what kind of like the identity that I created too was like, bro, like going to Philippines, going to a different country, Singapore,
Yep.
change your entire perspective.
Yep.
Like, holy shit, like the culture there, just
Yep.
the people, you just observe. I'm a people watcher, so like I just watch it, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. I think it's like one of probably like, I'm like, yeah. And then I acknowledge it as like, shit, like I should have probably done it. Something a bit different, because like it does die out, because I think I'd be transparent too. Like I think eventually, somewhere along the lines, I felt like I started with like a purpose, and eventually, I ended up, instead of fulfilling that purpose, I started trying to prove other people, and I think that's the pitfall I ended up getting to, that I just acknowledge, which I had this entire thing last year where like, okay, I need to lock back in, and
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, like I'm very transparent when it comes to my content. That's what I post about too. But like, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm like, shit, yeah, like that's one of the biggest mistake as this entrepreneurship
Yeah.
journey. You know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's something you have to go through though to experience like the feeling you had behind it, so you don't do it again. Because I think you
Yeah.
have to experience that first. I think I got like an SVR and I got rid of it pretty quickly. But even now, like I came out here, I rented a Lambo for like 3-4 days. And there's no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's no tie down to it. I still get to experience what it's like. It's not all it's made up to be, but it's like I still get to experience and have fun in the Lambo. It's not mine,
Mhm.
but it's style, so I don't have to travel. I don't have to leave it anywhere behind with me.
Yeah.
Worry about the expenses. Sweet, I got to ride. Yes, I rented a Lambo. Get over it. But like, it's just a bit of fun for the weekend, and I still get to enjoy and travel and
Yeah, no,
keep my money.
1,000,000%. Yeah, 100%, man. And bro, this is good. I've learned a lot from you, and I've learned a lot from this. I think it's valuable. But I think for people who's watching, okay, cool. Like I feel like I'm at that situation where I'm stuck. I feel like I need to definitely take that next step. Where can they reach out to you and say like, okay,
So all my socials is just my full name. So it's Kurt Udale, KurtYudale. You have some really good content yourself. I mean, they should just take your advice simple enough. Like your advice is solid. You've been through a good amount of experiences to be able to come out on the other side.
yeah,
Like you've made dumb choices, you've made smart
it's
choices.
stupid. A lot of stupid choices, you know,
right?
man.
But
But
we're supposed to make them.
yeah, that's true. I have a very last question for you, brother, and it's if you were to leave this world right now and you were to, people would remember you, how would you want to be remembered, right? If you leave this world, right, and all the people that you've hanged out with, your friends, your relationships that you built, business partners, all the people, how would you want to be remembered?
As a person that would go all the way for somebody. All the fucking way. Like, if you ever needed anything, he would go all the way. The guy that put in the grind every single day and would go all the way just to make sure you were okay.
Mm.
The guy that actually give a shit.
I love
That's
that. We need more people like that in the world, man. Especially in the online space. We didn't get too much deep into, you know, how like all the online spaces, and the more longer you're in the space, right? A lot of like backstabbing. I think it's business, right? But
it is what it is, bro. I've experienced backstabbing myself. It is what it is. You either hold on to it or you get over it.
yeah, the 100%, right? But brother, appreciate your time, man.
Pleasure.
You guys need help. The description. We want to reach out to Kurt. It's gonna be in the description below. But
unless you don't like the idea of more money, that's also
yeah, 1,000,000%. If you guys are in sales and you guys are not in that 50K a month range, like this is your man right here. And I know you're just coming up with some content right now too, right? You're starting to carry out some content, right? So definitely check out his stuff. Instagram. Where do you feel like they should get redirected if they're like, I want to speak to Kurt directly or whatever
my
it is?
Instagram's probably the best place, but
Yeah.
honestly, if you watch my YouTube, you'll find a lot of value in that and a lot of help in that. I think you'll learn a lot from if you go to my YouTube, and it'll probably help you a lot.
Yeah.
So feel free to shoot over.
Yeah.
Take a visit.
Gotcha. Well, Kurt, appreciate you, brother. It was a pleasure.
Likewise, my man.
All right.